Welcome back to Bite Size Music. Today I'm going to talk about learning the names of the notes on the neck, which is something that's really useful, and I can't encourage you to do it enough. Now there are lots of ways you could approach this. I'm going to suggest 3 just because 3 is a nice number. So method 1, learn the open strings. You should know by now that they are every Alsatian dog growls before eating or some other mnemonic. And when you know those open strings, you also know the 12th fret. And the 5th fret isn't that difficult because it starts on the A string, as you know from tuning your guitar. So then you've got Alsatian dogs growl before eating Alsatians. So I'm not suggesting mnemonics generally, but that's quite useful for learning just the open strings because they're fairly arbitrary sounding at first. So that's method 1. Use what you know from the open strings and the 5th fret. Method number 2 is use the chord shapes you already know. So octaves is really where I'm going with this. So if you think about caged, if we focus for a second on the E shape, if you know any E shape starting on the G string, so if you know for instance that B flat major is like this, or maybe picking an easy one, G major, it's like this. There are 3 Gs in that G major chord, this one, and this one. And you've probably already realised the 2 E strings contain the same note just 2 octaves apart. So you've got 1 octave here and another one here. And so now you've got some quick hacks to find the notes on the D string. So if you sort of think about it in terms of the 5th fret, 2 frets up is the same note. So this A here is there and there. So that's the E shape. The A shape has similarly useful octaves, just the one this time. But again, if you know any notes on the A string, so for instance this D, then you can quickly find a D on the G string, which is useful. And actually I'm still guilty of regularly thinking in octaves from strings I know better. It's sloppy and I should really do better with this, but it's a nice way of starting, and can kind of, the more you do these things, the more you'll just start to remember them. So then the C shape, that gives you this octave here, so here's the C on the A string and the C on the B string. So then all the way up again, any A string known gives you that octave. So you've got this octave here, sort of a triangle shape as I think of it, and then also the same thing there. So again, you can just, this is really a reference way of learning. I know note X, so note X octaves higher is this shape away. That doesn't find, yeah. So get the D shape, you've got them here, so that's referencing the D string and the B string. So then, wherever you are, if you happen to know a note on the B string, you can quickly find, so this B here on the B string is also this B here, so you can think of it going down that way, or coming up this way. And the same with this thing here, which is kind of from the G shape, so you've got 2 octaves in the G shape, if I do it open. So again, using A, so you've got an A here and an A here, so A on the 5th fret of the E string, and A on the 2nd fret of the G string, and then an A on the 5th fret of the E string. So that's the second method. So you've got the sort of referencing strings you already know, method 1. Method 2 is linear scales. So here we just play scales on one string and start with C major and pick a string. B string's quite nice, and just do C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Use the tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone formula if you're not familiar with the scale or your ears, but you can then link, okay, if I know this is a C and I know a third is this many frets up, then that has got to be an E, C, D, E. And that's an F and that's a G. So then you can start thinking, well, that's a G. Oh, that's a G, that's a G. So that leads me to method number 3, which is pick any note and just play on every string. Now this can lead you to just learning kind of scale shapes or pattern shapes of that one note, which isn't very useful for learning it because it's not very often you need to go, that's the thing, this one. But it can be quite fun as a challenge, just think, okay, I want to play every F sharp on the guitar. Oops. And just finding them, and then maybe don't do them in order. Think, okay, well, I'll pick a random string and a random note, and I'll play, I don't know, an A sharp on the B string, that sort of thing. So you could give yourself some cards, have a stack of cards or a slideshow on shuffle or anything that helps you. There's apps for your phone, and just put on there a string name and a note name, or maybe have string name and then note name alternating or something, and then just have them on shuffle and just do it and just see if you can quickly get there. Anything that helps you just use your brain and get some muscle memory learning where the notes are. And I suppose to finish, I can't stress enough that this will help your playing. It absolutely will help you in chord knowledge, in scale knowledge, in applying what notes go over chords, because you'll remember what the root 3 and 5 is in any chord, or root 3, 5, 7 in a 7th chord. And you can start thinking, well, I'm going to put the 9 on there, and in case of B, that would be a C, so I'm going to stick that one. No, it would not, that would be a flat 9, a C sharp, that sort of thing. So it's really worth doing, and I would suggest, not that long, just do it a bit every day. Maybe try and last a minute if you can on learning the notes on the neck. It's one of those things that you can apply to other things. So for instance, if you're doing an exercise like this, where you're just playing one note at a time, you could think, okay, this is an A flat, is it? No, probably not, it's a B flat. This is a B flat, this is a D, this is an F, and this is an A. And just picking random chromatics like that, and going across the major scale shape, major 7th shapes, or on other strings, and just thinking, what are these notes? And trying to remember or just know what they are as soon as possible. It's something pianists, there's not much about the piano that's easier than the guitar, I think, in many ways, because it's such an amazing instrument. But one thing that is a little easier is learning the names of the notes, because you just have the one octave repeated and the shapes are all the same and they're black if they're sharp. It's just, that stuff is easier, which is why some music theory things are easy to explain on piano. But guitarists, in this regard, we have a disadvantage, and I think because of that disadvantage, we get sloppy and lazy, and we don't bother learning the names of the notes on the neck, and we rely on chord shapes and scale shapes and don't think. And I think it would be massively beneficial to anyone who was interested to do this and to apply themselves to it somewhat regularly, and you'll see massive benefits. So I hope you find that helpful. If you do enjoy my videos, please do subscribe, comment, rate, and I'll see you next time for more guitar. Well, hopefully a lot more guitar and a bit more guitar. Bye for now.